Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, everybody? Back here with Mr. Mike Horner Project himself. Look at that, the guns on display. Hey, you're in Vegas. You don't need a license to carry them there.
No, you don't.
So what's new? How's the prepping?
It's good. It's good. I fucked up the diet. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have cussed. I'm going a few seconds in.
Whatever.
I screwed up the diet. I had a van to fly down to Reno for the Legion, and somehow I thought a couple of McDoubles were a good idea in the airport. And I sometimes make poor decisions. But the next day I did my check-in pics, and I was still looking super flat, and only weighed 213. So I'm thinking that it was like throwing water on a hot skillet.
Well, in my opinion, every day is a good day for McDoubles. I'm a big fan of McDoubles. I love McDonald's. Well,
and that's part of why I lose the argument in my head, right? Like, Coach Big Paul, these are McDoubles are Coach Big Paul approved.
It was funny. Colton had a thing up the other day about how McDonald's makes you look like shit unless you're on steroids, and then if you're on steroids, it's like there's like some magic to McDonald's while you're on steroids. It's specifically McDonald's.
I don't understand it.
I don't know what it is, man. Like anytime I have a hard time busting through a plateau, and I remember hearing it from Dante Trudell was a big fan of that back in the days. He would have me go eat. It was like 3 or 4 double cheeseburgers. I was super skinny, man. I was like 175 pounds at one point, like when I was trying to gain weight. And I would get a large shake because back then, I don't know if it's still the same way, but the McDonald's shakes back then had no fat in them. It was just all sugar. Just basically, it was like sugar water. And then I would dump a scoop of whey protein in it. That was the way to balk. But I think the McDonald's thing originated with Dave Palumbo. I don't know. All the bodybuilders from the 90s would do, in the early 2000s, would do double cheeseburgers.
I've heard a lot of the old guys tell the tale, and Dave Palumbo's one of them.
Yeah, I don't know if Dave got it from them or from, they learned it from him. I don't know, but it was like one of those things. It's like muffins. Like everybody likes muffins. I heard Chris Aceto talk about muffins because he was the muffin guy. And it was like somebody was asking him about if there was magic in it, and he's like, "Yeah, I like muffins." Muffins and Pop-Tarts. I think that was the Chris Aceto thing, and then it was Chad Nichols was the apple pie filling. That's where I got the apple pie filling thing. But Chad found that there was a specific brand of apple pie filling that had dextrose in it for the sweetener, and dextrose is the perfect sweetener. It will convert directly to muscle glycogen or to glycogen, so there's not an intermediary pathway in there so it's perfect. So before you could buy dextrose powder, I don't remember what brand. If you go to the grocery store and you look, corn syrup's essentially dextrose. So if you look just for the straight corn syrup, it's dextrose. But the ones that use corn syrup, you don't want the ones that have high fructose corn syrup. And then you get a little bit of fructose from the apples as well. And so the fructose is going to occupy the liver and top off liver. It's going to get prioritized by the liver. So it kind of spares the glucose for muscle glycogen in theory. I don't know how much merit there is to any of that, but it just tastes good.
My wife makes apple pie jam out of the apples on our apple tree. I think I sent you some, actually.
Yeah, you did send me a bunch of jams.
Yeah, just sugar and apples.
Note to self: Big Macs and grow. No, specifically double cheeseburgers or McDoubles.
Yeah, you don't want that Mac sauce, man. That'll make your butt fat.
Yeah, the mac sauce is no good. The McDoubles, actually, I got those from Dante. I remember him talking about it because the McDoubles only have one slice of cheese on them, so you get less fat. Yeah, the double cheeseburgers have two slices of cheese.
Huh.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I think a McDouble has two
Pretty
slices
sure.
of cheese.
I could be wrong. Oh man, now you're gonna call me out on the
The
McDonald's
McDouble debate.
McDouble. I think it's one slice of cheese. All right, now I'm gonna find it out. Yep, it's one slice.
Marty says it has one. Thanks, Marty.
Yep. Man, that's a sad looking sandwich. Hang on. It's funny, like they have like the prop, they have like the prop pictures and then they have the real ones. We'll compare the two. Hang on, we'll pull it up. Let me find the window. There we go. So you can see that that's what a McDouble like looks like when you pull it out of the bag. But here's what they fluff it up to look like.
Yeah.
It does not look like that. No, you can see it's got one slice of cheese versus the double cheeseburger. See, two. Yeah, never question my knowledge of McDonald's, Mike.
Yeah. Well,
I'm a
it could
McDonald's
vary
expert.
from the West Coast to the East Coast too. You never know. I always order them that way, McDouble, even though it says double cheeseburger on the menu. So I don't know. Maybe that's just the way.
There is a difference between the McDouble and the double cheeseburger. They're two different things.
Yeah,
the McDouble's cheaper. It used to be on the dollar menu. Now it's what, they're $3, I think.
Ollie, you're right, man. I am on Reddit even, and I still cheat on the diet.
It happens. It didn't look like it did any damage.
No.
I'll just punish you with a few days of no carbs. How about that?
Ugh.
The pictures look pretty good, man.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about my legs getting skinny.
Yeah, that's always the problem, man, with old guys. Like, we lose our legs. You got a little water on you, but that's just typical for right now. Like, this is kind of like the weird thing about doing back-to-back shows. It's like, what do you do in this part? Like, it's just like, is it better to just kind of coast until a couple weeks and then do a push, or do a push now and get leaner? This is always the thing that I struggle with as far as decision making. I'm kind of leaning towards more with people now, getting them ready early for stuff. We took that break after the show, let your body rest up. I don't know. What are we now? 7 weeks out? 6 weeks?
Yeah, 6 weeks, I think. The water is probably from the flight the day before.
Flight, yeah.
Yeah, and then if I'm holding water and I'm 213, I'm probably, if I wasn't watery, I'd be 210, which is stage weight. Like, at least at the last show, 210 or 212, whatever we decided on.
Yeah, part of me wants to do a little push here at some point, and get you a little bit leaner, and then push the food back up, see if we can get you a little bit tighter. Than we were at the last show.
It's 7 weeks.
7 weeks. Yeah, I thought it was 7 weeks. What's up, Dustin? Yeah, we need. I still need to book my place. I picked up another guy for prep this week. He's like 7 weeks out. He's like, "Will you take me on?" I'm like, "Sure, just join the gang. There'll be a whole bunch of us there."
Yeah. So that's what, 9 competitors you'll have there?
I don't know, what, 7, 8, something like that. I lost count. So I think I'm going to roll in on Tuesday and stay through Sunday. 6 days in Pittsburgh in July, exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, I was about ready to book the house, and I started thinking about driving the coach out there instead of flying, because flying went so terrible this last time. And I don't know, I do a better job when I'm flying with my wife, because she can sit, just give me my meals on time, and I'll eat what you give me. And left to my own devices, I'll make a bad decision. But I'm not sure that a 4-day road trip is going to be much better. I mean, if I land there the weekend before, get out there the weekend before.
Yeah, I would get out the weekend before, get settled in. The water usually will flush off in a day or two.
Yeah.
And there's always aldactone.
Yeah. But yeah, then if I drove out there, I would have the coach and I wouldn't need a house. So just an RV park.
It's a long ass drive, man.
Yeah.
Dustin's asking where I get my hats. Dude, these are just some El Cheapos I get on Amazon. They're like $15. I don't even know if there's a brand. They're just like some cheap Chinese hats. I like them. They're skateboard hats.
I can't tell if it's a cat or an owl.
It's a cat. It's my kitty hat.
Colin's support cat.
I like weird hats. I also have an extremely gigantic head, and there's very few hats that actually fit my dome head. So when I find a brand that fits, I just stick with it.
Yeah, I haven't quite decided to completely sacrifice my hair to the muscle gods, but it keeps falling out. I finally got like the comb over thing cut off and stopped parting it. And
well, you got more than me.
I like it a lot better. Yeah. Yeah, I started doing that part and combing it over after I had the brain surgery because I was trying to hide the scar while it was healing. It was pretty ugly. And and now I'm like, I don't have to do that anymore. So, I think this looks better than the Donald Trump comb over. So
it looks better than the comb over. I remember I was kind of doing like the weird shit with my hair in my late 30s, and my ex-wife, I think it was 40, 41, something like that. She was like, Paul, it's time. You gotta put that shit to bed. Like, all right.
Right. Rise 41. No, not me, buddy.
I still have a little bit on top. There ain't much left.
Yeah.
All right. So let's think about diet. This is Mike, this is kind of what I've been doing, and we can pick a time when we want to do it. We can do it now or wait a couple weeks, but what I've been playing with this year and kind of like what I've been learning from AJ is just to pick 1 week and just go after it. Yank all the carbs and the fat for like 3 or 4 days, and then jump on do a high day to fill back out. Just rip it off, get it off as quick as possible. It's sort of like ripping the Band-Aid off and then filling back out.
So I don't think this is the week for that because I have a photo
we
shoot.
still got time.
Yeah, I've got a photo shoot on Thursday. I hired a videographer, and then Dan Coffin and I are going to make a video at Cult Fitness in their posing room there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I planned my high day the day before that, so I would be kind of full for that video shoot. I know it sounds vain, but
it's not vain. I'm very vain with how I look. We're bodybuilders. It's the definition of vain.
Well, and that's the thing about this part of prep, right? Is that you're completely depleted. You don't feel strong in the gym. You look flat. You don't look good. You don't feel good. Your performance in the gym is bad. And you really have to this is where the mental fortitude comes in, where you just say, look, this is where I need to trust the process and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And because it sucks not to like the way you look or the way you feel or your gym performance all at once.
Yeah, and I mean they all kind of are interrelated. Like, yeah, I'm definitely struggling right now with my look because I've lost weight and I've gotten soft. That's not fun. Yeah, it's been a mind fuck. But yeah. So we'll wait. I would say just kind of I'm going to pull the diet up so people can see where it's at right now. But I don't know. We'll when you're ready, let me know. We'll pick a week and just do a hard push. But right now, the diet where we're at, it's meals 1 through 4. It's no carbs, just veggies, a little bit of added fat. I like to get some EFAs in. Sometimes I will yank the fats out. You don't want to do it for too long. If you get it to a point where the there's just some stubborn weight that won't come off. I find that when you yank the fats, that it does come off. I'd almost rather yank fats than carbs, but you can only get away with it for like a week or two, and then you just start feeling like dog shit. But we do have some EFA supplemented in, so that's what the added fats are, and there's going to be a little bit of fat in the protein. You're going to get a few grams, even if you eat lean stuff, unless you're just eating protein powder and egg whites. But there's going to be probably 20 or 30 grams of fat from just the protein daily. So we're probably 50 or 60 grams if we really counted everything. People lose their minds. Go ahead.
I did take one of my beef meals out and replaced it with tilapia, which I swore I would never do again. So for just to reduce the saturated fat a little bit, trying to get this last little bit of fat off my glutes.
Yeah, tilapia is fucking terrible, man. I hate that shit.
I did a whole contest prep on egg whites and tilapia once.
Oh my God.
I would never do it again. Well, not a whole 6 weeks of it anyway.
Ali's asking, what are you doing for your fats?
Yeah, like I just had some peanut butter and hot sauce on my chicken, or I'll do some almonds and avocados are my other go-to. Half a small avocado is about 7 grams.
Yeah, and one of the things and this is the reason why I do, if you'll see on the program, the reason why I do it out to where it's 7 or 10. 10 is 7 is a half a tablespoon of oil if you're going to do oil. And the holy guacamole packs, this is really the reason why are 7 grams of fat. Yeah. I love those. I use those on my beef. They're perfect. Although I don't think Marissa likes my breath when I'm eating the holy guacamole. There's all the garlic that's in it.
Yeah, I can't do it. I got to eat the plain stuff, but
yeah, you do need to be careful with garlic, because garlic and onion powder when you're on prep, because it is high FODMAP and it can cause gas and distension. We also, like, everybody used to eat, back in the old days, it used to be chicken and broccoli on contest prep, and bodybuilders would be farting like crazy. Yeah. Broccoli's high FODMAP too. I generally try to avoid high FODMAP, especially on contest prep, because digestion starts to worsen as you get leaner. And then also you're throwing in orals and whatnot that can fuck up your digestion. Trend can affect digestion as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all sorts
we were
of
talking
stuff
about that last week with the gas and stuff, and you were talking about some of the sugar-free stuff. So I took a harder look at some of the stuff I was eating, and I do pretty well with sucralose, but anything else like sugar alcohols especially, or can be a problem for me. And so I took a look at these different sauces that I had ordered online that I was using, and they have some different stuff in them. So I pulled those out, and it seems to be better.
Yeah, sucralose seems to be the most well tolerated out of the sweeteners. At least that's what I found. Any of the sugar alcohols are just a gut disaster for most people. And then people really, they'll get the sugar-free syrups, which have sugar alcohols in them. I believe like all the G Hughes stuff has sugar alcohols in them if you look at it. So if it ends in an OL, sorbitol, I forget some of the other ones, but if it ends in an OL, it's a sugar alcohol. Xylitol, yeah, there's a bunch of them. You, at a bare minimum, you want to keep those as much out of your diet as you possibly can, or limit it. I would prefer for guys on prep, especially towards the end, just to not have it at all. I usually tell people make fun of me with my bland ass chicken that's just got salt on it, but honestly, when I get to the last 2 weeks, it's just salt and then mustard. Mustard seems to be well tolerated. There's a little bit of sodium in it. It's very low sodium. There's no calories in mustard. It was funny yesterday Sunday on the live stream when we were talking about I can't believe it's not butter spray. I had no idea how many calories are in that shit.
Yeah.
After we added that up.
Well, I tell my clients this too, but holy shit, my mind just went totally blank. Hey, there's Prep Brain is coming on. Here we go.
Lee was asking, I missed the other part. PB, peanut butter for added fat. You got to, peanut butter is another one. You really got to look at the ingredients because a lot of peanut butter has palm oil in it, and I prefer people to stay away from palm oil if they can. If you can get organic peanut butter that doesn't have palm oil in it, I used to get the Justin's brand, but it has palm oil. They use palm oil because it's creamier and it doesn't separate like the natural oils in peanut butter. But I prefer people to try to get EFAs. I like flax oil. Flax oil's got a really good EPA, DHA profile, and it tastes good. It's got like kind of like a buttery taste to it. I dump it on my rice.
A lot of times too with the peanut butters, there's a lot of added sugar. So I buy Adams all natural. So it's got the oil on the top. You got to stir it really good, but it's a good brand for not adding a bunch of crap to it.
Smucker's natural brand is really good too, and it tastes decent. But usually, the trick is you mix it and then put it in the refrigerator so it won't separate. That's what I do, and I'll do nut butters too. On rice cakes.
I do a lot of peanut butter in the off season, but on prep, I try not to do as much of it because I'll leave a saying, I don't feel like it's as clean.
Amy talking about, I can't believe it's actually, it shouldn't be called, I can't believe it's not butter. It should be, I can't believe it's actually butter. 100 grams of fat in a bottle. Yeah, so all right, let's go back and I want to finish explaining the diet to people. So the one high day per week, I prefer to do the high day on leg day, but really there is an optional cheat meal at the end of the high day. Usually I yank that going down towards the last couple of weeks of prep, but it's mainly it's not in there for any sort of physiological reason. It's in there for psychological. Sometimes you just want to get a dinner with your significant other or just need a mental break. You're in a caloric surplus that day. Why not? Sometimes people get super depleted and it can be beneficial, like a McDouble. But I usually, for me, like where I need the cheat meals, me mentally, is in the middle part of the prep. I'll start off the prep with no cheat meals. And then like when I kind of get like in that, I find the middle part of prep to be the hardest. Like that kind of like 8 weeks to 4 weeks, that's like the part that really fucking sucks for me. And then like once you get down to 4 weeks, like everything, you just start looking better every day and you just get excited about how you look. And that's kind of when I sprinkle it. But I in an ideal world, we'd want to keep the fats as close to zero, proteins lower. And then half the carbs can come from simple sugars. It's funny, like everybody's on this sugar fast shit now. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 10 years. They just called it a different name.
Yeah. I watched Chase's video on that just before you guys got on with you guys the other day. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what the high carbohydrate day is for. It's not exactly the same as the sugar fast, but we do a lot of simple sugars, fructose, glucose. There is some starches in there. I know with the sugar fast, you're not supposed to do any starches, but it has a similar effect. You're going to have some upregulation in metabolism. I know the science nerds are going to say, no, it doesn't work that way. I hear it from these people all the time. And I'm like, have you tried it? It definitely works. You'll do that high carb day. And if you got your metabolism rolling, you're sweating like crazy at night. You'll see it. And then the low day, we usually, it's a deep deficit on that day. I like using that day for fat burning. Sometimes I'll do a 24-hour fast. I know Roman said he does a 24-hour fast and just have one meal. But on prep, I probably wouldn't do that because I wouldn't want to risk not having any protein in the mix and risk getting into gluconeogenesis.
And so far my blood sugar's been holding good at 84.
Yeah, no, that was a problem on the last prep, right? Yeah.
So I think that we'll probably run into the same thing the last few weeks, just like we did last time. But, I'm in that suck period that you were just talking about right now. So it's, that's definitely pretty accurate. And that the last high day, so I went 10 days without a high day because we were doing 3 high days a week before that. And so I waited for my leg day. So that was 10 days away. And then I did the high day, and then I was trying to decide whether or not I want to do a cheat meal or not. So I went and got a steak, it's Vegas, so there's it's a great steak everywhere. But I went and got a ribeye and a potato, just plain potato, with nothing on top of it. I always told him to bring me everything on the side. Then if I decide to put a little butter on it or whatever, but I felt like, man, it was so hard to eat. I mean, it tasted so good. I plowed through the first half of it, and then I was like, oh, and then I regretted doing it because I was just too full from the rest of the high day, and it didn't feel good.
What is your Retta dose at currently?
500 micrograms per every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, basically.
Okay, so 1.5 grams a week. 1 milligram and a half.
Yeah. I see JT's
not a gram.
Question here. But no JT, I'm a minimum effective dose kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
And that was an Ativan induced cheat anyway, so
I didn't know Ativan had that sort of effect.
It's just like Valium or Xanax, same class of drugs.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time eating on the GLP-1s. It's really been fucking killing my appetite, man. And then it's weird because like I don't eat all day long, and then when I do eat, I eat garbage. It's hard for me. Like the thought of eating protein just disgusts me. So I see why people are losing muscle. It just seems like too much.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at, I mean, everything I've read suggests that you want to be on a high protein diet on Reddit.
Yeah,
that's what
ideally.
That's what you really need to be eating for muscle preservation. And
I mean, really, if you wanted to get the weight off super fast, you could do this. I don't know why this hasn't gained popularity. I don't know. Maybe I should bring it up and be the next diet fad superstar. But the protein sparing modified fast, where you eat just high protein and nothing else, and almost no fat, no carbs. I mean, that if you want to get weight off fast, there's clinical studies on it. That is the fastest way to get weight off.
Yeah, if you have enough fat left to burn, if you're already single digits, good luck with that.
Yeah, and that's the issue. Like I tell people, getting down to like 10 to 12% is pretty easy. But then when you get below, you want to get below that and not look like you came out of a forced labor camp. You really have to be meticulous, and you have to massage things. It's an art form trying to get below 10% down to like stage lane. And some people's bodies just don't want to be like that. I've got a guy right now. We're peaking this week. Nick, if you're listening, my man Nick, he's always had tough time getting in shape, and I know he works hard. We're really working hard to bring him in tight for this show, but some people just struggle, and I feel bad because like people see my diet and they think that that's what they can do. I'm the opposite. Like I eat more.
Yeah.
The shows.
Well, I can tell when I get to single digits now because my brain stops working.
Yeah, and you get that effect where your blood glucose goes up.
Yeah.
And it's what it is your body, you start going hypo, and then you have gluconeogenesis that happens, and your body starts converting amino acids into protein, or into glucose, and then you end up like you have these spikes in blood sugar that happen. These just random spikes, or it could be
Sakoji.
Well, there's the Samogi effect, and then there's the
right.
Dawn effect. The Dawn effect happens in diabetics. Samogi happens in regular people, where it's just where you go hypo in the middle of the night, and you have either gluconeogenesis or a glycogen dump. In theory, the Retta should help temper some of that because of the glucagon agonist.
Theoretically.
Retta plus the carb cycling just makes my weight run. I feel like the glucagon part of Retta destroys the high days, was stuck at weight. Yeah, that does worry me a little bit with Retta, but who knows? I mean, we're just new to using it in the last year or so. But anyway, let's take a look at let's talk about the cycle. Nothing's really changed there, has it? It's hard to see for people probably, but we're still at 500 tests. Is that correct?
Well, the way that I'm doing it, it's actually more like 600, but yeah.
Okay, close enough.
Because my stuff I have is dosed at 300.
I always laugh when people are trying to, dose the stuff down to like 525.5 milligrams. I'm like, do you really think these UGLs, these guys making this fucking shit in their basement, it's that accurate?
A lot of times how I decide to take it is just what fits in 1 3 ml syringe too, right?
Yeah. I mean, the old bodybuilding school of thought was, just fill it up and inject it and call it a day. It's funny hearing Ronnie Coleman talk about the doses that he took, and he doesn't even know. Just like they used to talk in cc's, not milligrams. Like the early 2000s bodybuilders, they don't even know what they took. They're just like, I just took 2 cc's, 3 cc's. That's it.
So did you add the Helios to that graph?
Are you running it right now?
Yeah. I thought you started to add it last week.
Yeah, I probably did, and then I forgot. It's my ADHD, man. What's the Helios at?
Good question. So I went up to 6/10 and then dropped back down to 4/10 because it seemed to be tolerating it better.
For those of you guys that don't know what Helios is, it's injectable clenbuterol. It usually has yohimbine with it. Sometimes it has L-carnitine in it too. Depends on the brand you get.
Yeah, mine doesn't have the L-carnitine, but I did order something different, and what I was taking before that doesn't burn. So you were talking about maybe it was the alcohol or something that might be in it. Yeah, this oil stuff definitely doesn't hurt.
Yeah, the Helios I've run before. Man, it's hard to find, but it's the most effective fat burner in my opinion. And it's just the injectable clen is, you don't have to use as much, and it works. It hits hard and fast. How much
clenbuterol is normally in it? Because I know the yohimbine is 6.8. I think.
The one I had, I think, is 100 per cc. Maybe it's less. I don't remember. Maybe it's 60. I don't remember. I'd have to look at it. Depends on the brand. And I noticed, like with the yohimbine that's in the Helios, the injectable version, I don't get the same. I don't get the same like nausea and all that other bullshit that I get from taking oral yohimbine.
No. And I don't tolerate either one of these well, yohimbine or clenbuterol, and this injectable I definitely. And when I tried to bump it up to 6/10, which is or over half of a cc, or half of a milliliter, sorry, I noticed a little angst and just being hard on my CNS overall. But when I dropped it back down, it's fine. I just probably tried to go up too early. I could probably go up. I just have to do it slower. But yeah, now I'm asking the question, like, do I want to? Because I see these pictures, and I'm definitely, the fat's coming off, but I'm also seeing like a reduction in size, muscle size too. So I don't know if it's really the smart move at this point. Just be patient, let the fat come off.
Yeah, I'd probably be patient. You've been in a deficit for a really long time. It's really hard. I mean, we took a couple weeks of a break, but it's really hard on your body to do that after, especially as older guys, like these younger guys, they can do prep. They can be on prep half the damn year. But it's always a balancing game. Like I feel like the wheels sort of fall off after 16 weeks sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, when you get to be older, the legs don't grow like they used to, or they start shrinking anyway. I'm just adding to that.
No,
already.
It's like the first place the size comes off, at least for me. I can hang on to my upper body size pretty well. It's like my legs shrivel up and then my arms start to go. Although I got pretty big arms, but
in my last quad day, they got a massive pump on that high carb day still, and they were looking all veiny and stuff, but they're still smaller.
Yeah, and then some of that could be just glycogen. As long as the strength is not, that's sort of my litmus test with guys on prep. If we notice any rapid decline in strength, then I know we need to make a course correction. It's most of the time it's central nervous system fatigue, I would guess, sympathetic nervous system fatigue. But if there's a rapid decline in strength, then we probably need to take a break for a couple of days, to stay off the stimulants, do a refeed, let the body have a break. I'll sometimes have guys just hit the fucking wall, and what I'll do is just have them do like a half high day and then do a full high day. Afterwards, skip the cheat meal, stay off the fat burner, stay off the cardio. And when we do that, and usually just that 2-day break, they come back and they're better. But that's sometimes what I'll do. So we're at, let me pull this back up here. So actually it's 600 tests. Helios dose to be determined. We have no idea. And then you're running the trend right now?
Yeah, 25 a day.
Perfect. And then it's the 1,000 of the Masteron Primo combo?
Yeah.
And then 6 units of GH?
Twice a day.
So 6 twice a day, or is it 3 twice a day?
6 twice a day, yeah.
Okay, so it's actually 12.
Yeah.
Right.
It was 10 last week, though.
All right. We'll go with 12. We may put the orals in a little earlier.
Also known as much as I can afford.
I think on prep, it's less important.
Really?
Yeah, because really the growth that we're going to get from it is from the IGF-1 effect. And IGF-1 is going to be suppressed when you're in a caloric deficit and your estrogen smashed. So I don't know how much of a benefit. And this is just speculation. You'll still get the fullness from it, from the increased water, how it affects the water retention, mineral and water retention. So there is that part of it. But I think on prep, it just is really a really expensive fat burner the day. Although it's so cheap now. I've seen there's these crazy kits I saw it now are like 300 units or like 30 units a bottle, some shit like that. Yeah, there's some insane stuff now.
Yeah, the guys are putting
I don't
those
know how
out
real
though.
that is.
Yeah, I mean they always leave a little residue in the bottom of them, so I stopped ordering from that place, and the stuff I get now it's 12 per bottle, and the reason why I choose that over anything else is because as soon as you put bacteriostatic water in it, it clears up. It doesn't take a long time to dissolve, and and I know that means it's probably a little less likely to have any additives in it.
Yeah, I can tell you from having run Serostim, you put the water in it and it instantly dissolves. Whereas the UGL stuff, there's like all these binders and additives and stuff in it, and it's like in there and it's like chunks floating around. It takes 30 minutes for it to fucking dissolve.
Mannitol and everything else, yeah.
Yeah, and from what I understand, the mannitol, they use that. I used to think it was in there for a diuretic effect, but it's a very low amount of it, so I don't know how much of a diuretic effect it's actually going to have. Although I think sometimes when guys are running higher dose GH and they report like their joints hurt, I'm like, why are their joints hurting? And I was thinking about the mannitol drying people out. Serostem doesn't have that in it, but from what I understand from talking to people involved in the manufacturing process, the mannitol is in there for to help with the freeze drying process. It's basically to cut corners, so they don't have to be. They can use a cheaper freeze drying process when they're manufacturing it. So if they're going to have the price as low as it is, they cut corners somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. But I remember back in the days, you paid a lot more for it, and you had a 50-50 shot whether it was real, you know?
Yeah, it used to be HCG back in the day. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, look, real pharma grade GH is out of reach for 99.9% of people. But if I had my choice, I'm going to run real pharmaceuticals, period, on everything if I can. If I had the budget and the access to it, why not? It's for the peace of mind. But yeah, I think most of the UGL stuff is satisfactory. And there's always this, just run more of it.
Right. I figure I make up for it with a dose, because the way this stuff is priced, it's, you know, you can go through a kit a week. It's not going to kill you. John already got his place booked. Huh? Is that another one of the competitors you have there, John Thomas?
No, I don't think John's not working with me. It's a big show, Mike. If you've never been to it before, there'll be usually there's over 1,000 people. It'll be the biggest show you've ever been to.
I'm excited for it, for sure.
More competitors than there are at the Olympia.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Last year, I think it was like 1,100 total.
Yeah.
And when I did bodybuilding, there were close to 400 bodybuilders total. I was like number 376 or something like that. I don't remember my number. It was in the high 300s. And then the over 50 class that I was in, there were close to 60 dudes. And then the light, I felt bad because in the heavyweights, there were some guys that should have been in the finals. But you know, it's Survivor, man. There's one dude that gets to make it to the finals. There were a couple of guys that didn't. And then the guy I beat in the super heavies, he ended up winning the overall at North Americans, and he didn't even make finals. I was like, man, I felt bad for that dude because he looked good. He probably would have been in second or third place if he had made finals.
I only saw pictures, but it was pretty amazing. Justin brought you in looking fantastic at that show.
Yeah, it was. I give all the credit to diarrhea. That's the secret weapon for getting.
That's dry. The secret. That's the secret right there.
Dude, I was like this close to pulling out of that show. It was just. I'm glad I gutted it through. I told Justin when we did it, if I wasn't in center coming out of prejudging, I'm not coming back for finals.
I imagine show promoters don't like that very much.
There were a lot of people that bailed.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There were a ton of people that didn't come back for finals. Yeah, I'm sure it pisses them off, but what are they going to do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's poor sportsmanship unless you're sick. If you're sick, then I get it. But, like, I feel like you should be back for finals just to support the other guys that are out there. It's disrespectful to the other competitors, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of, you know, when I went to Legions this weekend, I went out there thinking I would fly back Sunday morning, and I didn't really plan on staying until Sunday night. And then I knew Aaron was competing, but for some reason in my mind, I thought that they were doing all the competition on Saturday, and he was not competing until Sunday. And I said, well, I might as well stay long enough to watch the amateur show, after watching
the pro show. If you're there.
Yeah. And Aaron got an unlucky draw on that one, man. The guy who beat him was just a monster. He was over 300 pounds on stage, easy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was a big
I saw Aaron's picture. He didn't pictures. He didn't look as crisp as he normally does. But man, I don't know how he stays in shape doing that many shows. Anyway, that's like really fucking hard.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. Well, I think you're going to sacrifice a little bit of the look too every time, because you can't go as hard into every show if you're going to do another one in 3-4 weeks.
Well, the issue is usually water. It's staying dry because you have this effect. Like if you dry out, then you have a rebound effect afterwards with aldosterone, and like sometimes it can take months for your aldosterone to like settle, like for the water retention to settle back down.
Yeah.
I've seen some, everybody's different. I tend to stay dry. Although this year I had trouble getting dry, but this past year, but some guys, man, it's months before the water retention settles back down post show.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I would say, like if you were on this weekend with Roman, if you're going to do multiple shows, just like once consecutively, I just treat it like another day at the office. I wouldn't do any water manipulation. I just get on stage and do my thing. You might not be the driest guy up there, or maybe just take like a aldactone the night before or something, or diazide or something the night before. But I would keep all my water in place. I wouldn't do any water manipulation or sodium manipulation, anything crazy.
Yeah, I felt like I could have just taken a diazide the night before and got on that stage and done pretty well in my division at Legion. I'd at least got a second place.
Usually the masters divisions at these shows, especially as you get older, they aren't that competitive at local shows.
Yeah, they had a masters 35 and a masters 45. They did it a little different at that show, but
yeah, some shows do the 35 and 45.
Yeah.
And when I did Masters USA's, they had a 40 and then a 45 class, I think, when I did that one, which usually is not. Masters Nationals, it's 10 years. It's 40 to 50, 50 to 60. At least that's the way they used to do it. I don't know if they're still doing that this year. I think so.
Yeah.
And then there's three pro cards per division.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that the Legions was a pro qualifier.
No,
it's not. But
they're only
it's an Olympia qualifier.
Olympia qualifier for the pros. I'm trying to think for Masters. There's only, let's see, 4 shows you can qualify for a pro card for Masters. There's Team Universe. There's Masters Nationals, which is the biggest one. There's North Americans, and then there's Masters USA's. That's it. Those are the only ones for Masters here in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
Pittsburgh has the most pro cards, right? From what I understand.
Yeah, Masters Nationals, it's 3. Well, I think in the 35 division, there's 5. In the 40 and 50, there's 3. And then in the over 60, I think they do 2. And then 70, it's 1.
Yeah.
That's it. The North Americans, I think, is the same. I think they do the same at North Americans. But the Masters Nationals and North Americans, it's the same crew that put on the Pittsburgh Pro. It's the Manions and Gary Udit that do those shows. I like their shows the best. I find them to be the best run and the best judged. They're just very efficiently run. They're well done.
Yeah, the show I went to this weekend was pretty well done too. It went really smooth. It's smaller than I expected it to be. It was smaller than the Emerald Cup, but they didn't have an open pro at the Emerald Cup, and they did at this show.
Yeah, they wanted me to come out for that show. I thought about it. But then I was like, I just like my shoulder was too fucked up to do it. There's no way I could have trained for it. I thought about putting the surgery off and gotten through and see if I could do it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't. I fucked my shoulder up. I've had some shoulder.
How did the Masters pros look in that show?
In the they didn't have Masters pros in Legion.
Oh, they didn't. Okay.
No.
I thought they did.
No.
Well, yeah, I would have gotten smoked and competing with the regular guys.
Yeah, no, just open and open physique and classic physique.
Classic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably do the Tampa. That's probably what I'll do next year.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to being not competing for a little while.
Yeah, I'm sure you're ready for the break, man. I don't know how
Yeah,
you're doing. I'm a one and done. I'm a one show per. I don't know. 8 months. I don't know. I need a break. I need a
yeah.
break after shows.
Well, if I would have qualified
Right.
earlier than May, that might be a different story too. But you know, I see other people do it all the time. You know, they go do the Cascadian or one of the other Pacific Northwest shows, and then they go do nationals. Like you know, when I was on the Team Northwest, like a lot of those guys did that several years in a row, trying to get their pro card.
They're moving Masters USA's to Vegas this year, so that's going to be in Vegas now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
In October still, or
November. It's the week before
November?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Nothing like dieting through the holidays.
yeah. I don't know. The summer's hard enough for me. I'm like all the food. I can skip the turkey and the ham, but
No,
man, when you start talking
yeah.
about barbecue and potato salad and all that other good cookout food, that's kind of where my heart's at. Oh.
Yeah, I like summer cookout food too. Right now, I'm eating what the fuck ever. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this up. Mike, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience with everybody. Well, I think I'm going to run these every other week moving forward because my schedule's been so packed. But we'll be back for another one, guys. Look out for us. We appreciate your support. Thank you for everything.